there! You like Warhammer, don't you? You like books? You like lists? Well, check this video out. It was originally meant to be my top 6 Warhammer novels, but that kind of got blown out of proportion. So I'm going to run you through my recommendations of my favorite Space Marine novels. Stay tuned. There is a bonus one that I just had to get into the movie, script, whatever it is that you have to check out. Stay tuned to the end. I'll see you guys there. Warhammer 40K. And this is Space Marine novels from the Black Library. Let's jump in and see how we go. Now, 40K has some of the best literature and lore out there. It is huge, covering all different facets in the grimdark universe. But where do we start? And to be honest, what has really attracted me to the 40K universe is it's the Space Marines. It's the, well, custodians aren't Space Marines, but you know what I'm fucking saying. I don't really care about anything else. It's all about the Primarchs. It's all about those mad motherfuckers, which I love so much. And then if you're not a heretic, a mutant, or the unclean, then this list is just for you.
Brothers Apothecary.
All right, these are my Space Marine books. Coming in at number 6 is the Angels of Darkness, part of the Dark Angels Omnibus. Was my first Dark Angels novel, and it follows the journey of a Dark Angels chaplain. This is a great read. It does lean towards more of a kind of a spy thriller, if I dare to use those heretic words. There's some really cool twists and turns. You get some really cool perspectives between the loyal brothers and obviously the Fallen. If you know your lore, the Fallen are the bad guys, and fuck Luther. But look, it was a great read. I wanted them to whoop ass a bit more. That's the only thing. There's a lot of twists and turns. The ending is fucking pretty grim dark. It's got some great insight into the chapter of the Dark Angels, the rituals behind it, the different levels of secrecy, even between their own chaplains, even between their own chapters as well. So it's really cool. Now moving on to number 5, which is Indomitus. This is a novel that, as far as I'm aware, accompanied the release of 9th edition. This is big Necrons. This is with the boys in blue. Ultramarines stumble upon a Necron invasion. How they lead up to that is quite cool because they're kind of stuck in between the warp and they've literally got nowhere to go. It's just they would like run anyway. And it shows how badass the Blade Guard vets are because they're slicing up some Necrons. And it's just fucking badass. It's really cool. After I finished this novel, I ran to finish my Blade Guard sets, and I'll show you a photo of them because one of them is pretty much painted the same way as the cover art. Not that it's any good. Next one, which is actually my first introduction to the Black Library, and I think it's one of the best reads. I got really, really lucky with this one, and you've probably heard me talk about this previously. It's one of my all-time favorite books, and this is Godblight. This is the third novel in the Dark Imperium series. It features, again, our boy, Mr. Ramute Gilliman. This is one of the... If you're looking to get into 40K, or if you just want a 40K experience summed up with everything, I don't think you can look past this novel. This has it all. You've got Primarchs fighting against each other, which in the current setting is pretty rare. There's not many of them alive, to be fucking honest. You've got the Ultramarines, you've got Custodes, you've got Eldari, you've actually got greater demons and the filth and their perspective as well. There's a really, really cool scene where Mortarian's, Nurgle's fucking filth is trying to get some kind of information and they infect a guy with a telltale slug, and it's really, really interesting and it's done from a great perspective. Definitely recommend it. And it has one of the most iconic speeches in 40K history between Gilliman and the Emperor himself. It really, really encapsulates the setting, the current setting, the grimdark setting. I cannot recommend this book enough. It is responsible for getting me into 40K as we see it now, which is amazing. All right, now, the next couple, I might actually have 7 on this list. I might have done 7. Whoopsies! Our first venture into my army, my favorite crew, the Grey Knights. I love them. Black Library novels is quite difficult to get a hold of. It's quite expensive. I don't know why, because they're not like... Well, some of the Grey Knight trilogy is quite old, but some of the new stuff, I don't know why it's getting like $200. But first venture into the Grey Knights on this list is Warden of the Blade. I've literally just finished this, and this follows Castilian Crow's journey to become Guardian of the Blade, or the Black Blade Antwerp. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. This novel is written by David Annandale, Horus Heresy author as well, and is set prior to Crow officially taking up the mantle as Castilian, the Guardian. It starts with Crow joining the previous Castilian, Gavilan, who is the then keeper of the Blade. If you don't know, the Blade of Antwerp is a relic / demon of unimaginable power. It's essentially godlike. This story follows that journey. Is set amidst the backdrop of a Slaanesh heretic incursion on the world of Sandava 2. What makes this different is you actually get dialogue from the Blade itself. You actually get the Blade speaking to both Crow and Gavilan, taunting them, messing with them, and there is some really, really cool scenes. I just love the Grey Knights. I just love how stoic they are. I love how they do not give a fuck. Quite unique amongst Grey Knight novels is because they're going into these like realms of chaos, the terrain, the enemies, reality itself warps upon itself, pun intended. And so they have to be so strong of mind that they have to be able to like just plow through it and nothing slows them down. It is fucking badass, and it is a standout novel. Although it is a little bit short, I would have preferred a little bit longer. I like kind of like the bigger reads, but it packs a hell of a punch and leads directly into the next Castilian Crow novel, Castilian, which I'm yet to read. Damn, it is a cool read. And there is a single paragraph I read 3 times because I was just like, this is just so cool. One of my favorite Warhammer books. Now, this moves us on to the Grey Knights trilogy, written by Ben Counter, and it is one of probably my favorite series of novels by the Grey Knights. Again, it is a little bit harder to come by. Getting a physical copy or getting the omnibus physical copy is quite expensive, but I believe you can get it on Kindle, I think. So what separates this from Castilian is this is an earlier setting. It's got the old Warhammer logo, as well 40K logo. And like I said, it's a trilogy, and it's showcasing my boys, the Grey Knights, my favorite army. Now this follows a different Grey Knight called is Justicare Ulrich and his battle against Tzeentch and the summoning of one of his greater demons. And this is the first novel, Grey Knights. Now, the story has a lot of twists and turns and is full of action. It follows Ulrich as he battles against these demons and against a seemingly 1,000-year plot to have this greater demon resurrected. And it seems like everything he does is not only not stopping anything, but aiding it. Aiding the demon into being born into the Imperium. And there's some great characters. It's got the Order Malice in it. Obviously, they're a part of it. Inquisition is there as well. There's some great characters. There's a really cool rogue agent, which sheds a bit of light on that too. Very, very cool. You start to get a real feeling of the dedication, the sacrifice, the rituals behind one of the Emperor's finest. It's a truly great read. You get a glimpse into that whole mysterious order because a lot of the time you don't. A lot of the time there's nothing or very, very minimal in terms of direct, like being inside the workings of the Grey Knight and being inside how Titan works and walking through the halls. It's a must read for any Grey Knight fan. This leads us on to the second novel of the trilogy, which is Dark Adeptus, the second installment of the Grey Knight trilogy, featuring our boy, again, Ulrich. Now, this time, he's investigating a dark Mechanicus planet, which has since reappeared in the Imperium after spending 1,000 years in the war. And this is one of the first novels that actually introduced me to the inner workings of the Mechanicus, how cool they actually are. I end up getting so much more respect for them because they did not hold back. There's a dark Mechanicus in this, so obviously they're bad guys, but it's quite layered. The Mechanicus keep up with the Grey Knights. They are slicing and dicing. I love their depiction, which is very methodical, which is, it's all about logic. And whereas the Grey Knights still have that, but they, have to lean a little bit more on, what's the word? They have to lean a little bit more on instinct in some points. There's some really cool different demons as well, because they're actually data scripts, and the final boss is quite different. There's some really cool lore implications within this book as well, to do with Dread Knights and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. It's a must read. Now, the third installment from author Bed Counter's Grey Knight trilogy follows our boy again, Justiciar Ulrich, who, after many, many battles, finds the lines of his battle brothers completely depleted down to only 2 members from his original squad. And while this novel moves away from the traditional Grey Knight setting, it actually focuses more on Ulrich himself as a Grey Knight, his character development, and you get a little bit more insight into him. Essentially, what happens is the Grey Knights, Ulrich, are sent down essentially into the Eye of Terror, fighting a army of Khorne on a corrupted planet, and shit goes pear-shaped. Spoilers there. The whole planet turns out to be a monument to the Blood God, and he gets captured. Ulrich gets captured and essentially becomes a prisoner. But where this differs from the original is it kind of takes more of a Grey Knight, more of like a God of War-esque thing, where he's trying to survive and there's interactions between prisoners, and Ulrich's fighting for his very sanity, and has got, again, lore implications where he's aware that no other Grey Knight has actually fallen to chaos, and there's done some magic here to take some of the psychic shielding off, and it's actually really, really cool. Is he going to be the first one to fall? I was at first a little disappointed that it moved away from the setting of Grey Knights, planet hopping, storm bolters and all that, but you get more insight into Ulrich himself. You get more insight into essentially the Blood God, and there's a really cool final confrontation where he just fucks shit up, and it's so cool. I cannot recommend this enough. And again, I don't want to spoil it, how fucking warped everything is inside the Imperium, how they treat prisoners, how the cities, how their society runs. It is very, very well done, and I cannot recommend it enough. I know I said there's 6 books there. All right, now this is an update, a final edition, which I actually finished last night at about 2 a.m. in the morning, and I had to get this into this list. It's a bonus, but this book is Sons of the Forest. Holy shit! This is a killer book. I went into this with a small amount of preconceived notion that it would mirror the Godblight series, as it contains the second Primarch to return, Lionel Johnson. Big battle, final confrontation, sick, love it, all down for it. New stories from other Dark Angel novels, such Warhammer games such as Space Hulk regarding the Lion, but his return to the current setting of 40K is just amazing. Almost incomprehensible feat within the universe itself. I wondered how the author would accomplish this monumental task. As we all know, the Dark Angels have their own secrets, being that some of the first legions turned on their brethren under the guise of a mistaken, emboldened, and heretical Luther. How this story treads the Lion's physical return to the Imperium, his newfound powers, we'll put it like that, and his coming to terms with the aging, not only of himself, but of the universe as it now sits. He's alone, or so he thinks. Much of the story, to my surprise, was that of redemption. Redemption for some of the fallen, even those that tangled within the depths of blinding chaos. The Lion's return with a wisdom his younger self was, how should we say it, willing to put aside for the greater cause of the immense Great Crusade. And as the book so states,
our weapons were not equipped to fight our own brothers.
Now, while he is wiser, he is anything but dull. There are moments in this book where the enemies of the Imperium, the chaos filth, the chaos heretics that normally fear nothing, abandon their posts and run in fear as a Lion absolutely decimates. And the ending, holy shit. The implications, man, the implications, the relief. Rarely have I wanted to get up and cheer for an ending, but by the Emperor I did. The nods to his previous life, his lamentations on his brothers, his admiration, although begrudgingly admitted, for Russ, and the sorrow expressed for Sanguinius humanizes a damned near demigod, although the Lion would despise such reflections. This book has had so much of an impact on myself that I have now found my new army. We have the Grey Knights, the Ultramarines, and now proudly the Dark Angels. Stay tuned. I'm going to be wasting a shit ton more money on another army. I just had to add this book in here because it is a must read. I think the next one I'm going to possibly read after that is Valdor. I really want to try and get my hands on a copy of the Castellian novel. I think that'd be really cool. Same with the Emperor's Gift. It's just trying to get a copy of them that's under $200. Let me know what you guys think. What current Warhammer novels are you reading?